All right, go ahead and get settled in while I tell you what we're going to do in our practice this morning. Michelle Obama wrote a book called Becoming, and in support of her book, she went out on a big book tour where she would talk about her book, usually with another famous person in front of a really big audience. But also on the book tour, she would meet with smaller groups of students, young adults, teenagers, and you can see part of this in a documentary about the book tour on Netflix. And as I was watching the documentary, something that Michelle Obama said really struck me because it applies to how we're trying to go forward in our lives now. In this particular part of the documentary, a young woman asked Michelle Obama about getting her life back on track after her husband's presidency. And here's what Michelle Obama said. What I've learned is that get back on what track? It's a whole new track. It's not going back. It's just all different, and it's different forever. So it's not getting back on track. It's creating my next track. And y'all, I think that's what we're doing now. As our communities start to reopen, we are trying to figure out what our next track is. We're trying to figure out our way forward. That's not the way forward that maybe we had planned. So I believe our yoga practice has some tools that help us figure out how to lay that track and how to get rolling on that track. So one of the tools is being present with what is in the moment. So think about Warrior One. It's a pose you probably did in your first yoga class, but the Warrior One that you did then is not the Warrior One that you're doing today. I hope it feels different for you. And it's not the Warrior One you're going to be doing next year or 10 years from now. Because we have a different body, it's part of it, but also we have different experience. So when we did that first Warrior One, we didn't have any experience. Now we do. We have all of this wisdom that we take with us into that pose. So even if, say, our bodies aren't really cooperating in the Warrior One, we have the wisdom that we have learned in the past that helps us really be in that pose in the way that's right in the moment. And one of the things that's important about using yoga as a tool is that yoga is a practice of the heart. So the practice that we're doing today, this asana practice, is a physical practice. So Warrior One is going to happen, but that pose doesn't really happen in a yogic way unless we bring our hearts into it. So it is a back bend, and the class of poses that are back bends more than any of the other classes of poses require us to move and be and live in our hearts. So we have wisdom that we get from our yoga practice, learning over the years how to be in our bodies. We have the learning of how to be in our hearts in each pose, and that's going to be different from day to day. And then we also have another learning from our practice that we take with us into setting this new track and moving along on this track, is just to be us. So my Warrior One's not your Warrior One. So we learn how to be just ourselves in what we're doing. So find your comfortable seat, sit up tall, and close your eyes. Take a couple of breaths just to appreciate the body that you have today and all the wisdom that this body carries with it. Take a couple of breaths to appreciate the state of your mind and how unique your way of thinking, your way of maneuvering is. Take a moment to drop into the energy of your heart. And feel that within your heart, there is that authentic you. And when you move in just the right way, you're able to let that authenticity come out. Bring your hands together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. And set your intention to let your body, mind, and heart that you have today inform the poses. Let your warrior one today be your unique warrior one. Let this practice help you lay a new track, set a new track, and get moving on that track. There's no going back. Take a really deep inhale through your nose, and then exhale through your mouth and release your hands down to your legs. Gently open your eyes. And here we go into our yoga practice. If you're following along with the playlist, you move over to Spotify, find me there, and this is Virtual Yoga 519 is the playlist for today. We're going to come into child's pose on our mats. So spread your knees out wide, bring your big toes together, and then reach your hands out in front of you in your child's pose. Take a big breath in here in child's pose through your nose, and then let it out through your mouth. And then just take a few more breaths just to settle in. Feel nice and easy in your body here. Lift your forehead off the mat and then walk your hands back until they're under your shoulders, and then widen the hands out so they're wider than your mat lips. Draw the heads of the fronts of your shoulders away from the floor, and you're going to sway side to side here through your upper body. So bring weight over into one arm and then into the other arm, just swaying back and forth. Right above your mat here with your torso and your head. Letting your upper body be a hammock here between your legs as you sway. The next time you sway over to the right, stay to the right, and then stretch your left arm over to the right at a diagonal. So your left hand will be off the right side of your mat. Getting a nice left side body stretch here. Left fingers reaching forward, left hip reaching back. One more breath in here, and then as you exhale, return your left hand where it was, so off the left side of your mat, and then sway back and forth. A few more times. Next time you sway over to the left, reach that right hand over to the left, off your mat, at a diagonal. Breathe deeply, opening up your right side body. And then on an inhale, come back to the center and stretch both arms out in front. So back to a regular child's pose here. One more time, deep inhale through your nose. Let it out through your mouth. And now make your way up to hands and knees. So we're going to be on our hands and knees for a little bit here. If you want to pad your knees, that might be helpful. I'm going to turn to face you. You can stay right where you are. Exhale, cat pose, round the spine. Inhale, cow pose, open up the front body, and keep going back and forth. Use your breath to guide your movement. And really just appreciate this body you brought to your mat today, you brought to your practice. On your next cow pose, let your heart open up a little bit in this back bend. Keep going. And then after your next cow pose, come into a neutral spine. So it's important here in this next set of movements that you stay really neutral in your spine. Cup your right fingers behind your right ear and point your right elbow out to the side. Take a breath in. As you exhale, twist down. So you bring your right elbow to the inside of your left wrist. And then as you inhale, twist open, point that right elbow to the sky, look up past your elbow, and keep going. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, down. Inhale up, opening the thoracic spine a little bit here. Exhale, one more time to go low. And then inhale, lift up, stay lifted. Take that right arm straight up into the air. And then exhale, right hand back down to the mat. Exhale, cat pose. And inhale, cow pose. All right, back to neutral. Tone into your core. Try to stay really toned and neutral there in the core. Left fingers behind the left ear. Left elbow points out to the side. Take a breath in. I got that wrong. Exhale right here. As you inhale, exhale, elbow down to the right wrist. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, go low. Inhale, lift up. Two more. Exhale down. And then inhale up. One more. Twist down. And then as you inhale, lift up and take that left arm up into the air. Look up past your hand, twisting open. And then exhale, hand down to the mat. Exhale, cat pose again. And inhale, cow pose. All right, come to neutral. Again, tone into your core here. Inhale, right arm forward. Exhale, left leg back. Take one breath in as you exhale, knee and elbow together. Inhale, stretch back out. Exhale, pull in. Inhale, stretch out. One more time. Exhale, pull in. Inhale, stretch out. Stay stretched out here. Just bend your left knee so the sole of your left foot points up towards the ceiling. And bring your right arm out to a cactus arm. And we're going to pulse the arm and the leg up for 5, 4, 3. Stay in your core. And that's one more. And then lower the hand, lower the knee. One round of cat. And cow, and then second side. Inhale, left arm forward, exhale, right leg back. One breath in to prepare, and then exhale, knee and elbow together. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, pull in. Inhale, stretch. One more, pull in. Inhale, stretch out, stay stretched. Bend your right knee so your foot is in the air. Bring the left arm out to cactus and pulse up for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then lower hand, lower knee. Last time, exhale, cat. And inhale, cow. Come into plank pose, front your knees. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, lift up into cobra, stretch up across the chest, roll the shoulders back. And now downward dog. Tuck your toes under, reach your hips up towards the sky as you stretch your chest back towards your legs. Big inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth in downward dog. And then move around a little bit. We're gonna keep coming back to downward dog, and it'll be different. It'll be a different pose each time. Your body will feel a little different. Your mind and your heart will be a little bit different. Being present with what is in the moment. Walk your feet to the front of your mat. Stand and forward bend.
Move your head around a little bit here. Let it hang down, bob it around. Loosen up the back of the neck and the sides. And then on an inhale, rise up to stand. Sweep your arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Find your Ujjayi breath if you use that pranayama, toning in your throat so you hear your inhales and exhales, letting that breath help keep you present in your practice. Remember your commitment to yourself. Be yourself in each pose. Use the wisdom that you have to help you move forward. Inhale, take the arms up high, lift up, look up. Exhale, float down to your mat, folding over your legs. Inhale, lengthen forward halfway. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose, knees off the mat this time. If you can, exhale, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward dog, whichever your body is ready for now. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look up at the top of your feet and step, walk, or hop your feet up. Fold over them. And then on an inhale, rise back up. Touch your palms. Exhale, hands to your heart. That Surya Namaskar A we just did is the foundation for flowing through, letting feminine, divine energy flow through us as we go. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, go down. Inhale, lengthen out. Fold back in on your exhale. Take your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers and then bring your hands away from your back. Fold into your legs. And then release your hands back down at the front of your mat. Inhale, stretch the spine forward again. Exhale, take your vinyasa, step back to downward dog or jump into chaturanga. Use your breath to guide you pose by pose, really feeling each pose that you're in at the moment, noticing the state of mind, body, and heart in each one. Once you return to downward facing dog, use your inhale to lift your right leg high behind you. Use your exhale and your core to lunge your right foot up at the front of your mat. It's our first warrior one of the practice. Root into your back foot and inhale, lift up overhead. So take a moment as you land in the pose to notice body, to notice mind, to notice heart here in this back bend. Just be with what is now. Interlace your hands and bring your hands behind your head. Press your head back into your hands. See if you can feel the upper back muscles turn on to take you a little bit deeper into your back bend. Keep everything you've got, but stretch the arms back up overhead, unlacing the fingers, opening up here. And then as you exhale, circle your arms out and down. You're just going to put the backs of your hands on your low back here. Straighten your front leg, hips are square. As you exhale, bow forward. We're only bowing forward halfway, pulling the shoulders back as we bow forward. And then inhale, lift back up. Take a little back bend here, opening across the chest, some more. And then bend back into your front knee. Take both arms up overhead, warrior one again. It should feel a little different than that first one that we did. On an exhale, circle the arms out and down, interlace behind your back. Humble warrior, bow down, fold inside the right leg. Bring your hands away from your back. Let your head have its weight here. Let your head just hang down. Soften the neck when you can. And then as you exhale, release your hands down to the mat. So we're going to keep the left hand on the mat, spin the left heel up and twist around to the right. Take your right arm straight up overhead as you pull the right shoulder back. Stay firm in the legs, firm in the hips, and then maybe you take that top hand and take it to your low back or hook it into your opposite hip, binding there, half binding around. And then on an inhale, release the bind, hand down to the mat. One leg dog, take your right leg back and up behind you, lift it up. One leg vinyasa, inhale, one leg plank. Exhale, stay strong as you lower, one leg chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your feet to the top of your mat. Fold over your legs. And inhale, rise up. Big breath in, stretch tall. Exhale, hands to your heart. Second side, inhale, lift. Exhale, takes you down. Inhale, stretch forward. Make your way through vinyasa to get to downward facing dog. In downward dog, inhale, left leg high behind you. Exhale, lunge your left foot to the front of your mat. Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1, lift up. Take a moment just to be with the pose. And then interlace your hands. Take them behind your head, press your head back into your hands. Try to point your elbows towards the ceiling or maybe even back behind you, turning on your upper back. Keep that and then stretch the arms back. Let your heart energy expand from here in the pose. And then inhale, straighten the front leg. Circle your arms out and down and just rest the backs of your hands on your low back. One breath in and then use your exhale to bow just halfway forward. Front of the body parallel to the ground. Inhale, lift back up. Take a back bend here. And then bend back into your front knee. Warrior 1 again. Notice how it feels. It's a whole different pose. There's no going back to the last one. Circle your arms out and down. Interlace them behind your back. Chest is broad and open as you exhale to humble warrior. Fold down and in. Bring your hands away from your back. Keep the muscles around the shoulders working as you fold in, but let your head go. Let it hang down here. Release your hands down to the floor. You're going to keep that right palm on the floor. Lift your back heel up and twist around to the left. Take the left arm up. Strong legs here. Lean back a little bit. And then maybe you take that top hand, rest it on your low back, or even work it around into the front of the right hip, opening up in the twist. And then inhale, release. Hand down to the mat. One leg dog, left leg lifts back and up. One leg vinyasa. Downward dog is where we all meet back up together. All right, bring your feet to the top of your mat. Fold over them. And then inhale, lift up. Draw that breath in deeply. Exhale, hands to your heart. Flowing on now. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float back down. Inhale, stretch out. Vinyasa time. Repeating these poses that you've done before. Each one is different. Although you've done them, stay present with what you have, how it feels. Keep your mind connected to what you're doing. From downward dog, inhale, right leg back and up. This time, bend your knee and twist open. Inhale, reach the leg back behind, square the hip up. Exhale, lunge your foot to the top of your mat. We're going back to warrior 1. Back heel down to the ground. Inhale, both arms up overhead. Take a moment, sit with it, be with it. And then exhale, hands to your heart, twist around to the right. So bring that left elbow across. We're gonna try to keep the back heel on the ground. If it hurts your low back, you can lift the heel up. If you're just struggling to keep the heel down, maybe shorten up your stance a little bit and bring that left foot a little bit closer in. Revolved side angle pose. Left fingers down to the ground or towards the ground. Right fingers up to the sky. Twist around here. Opening up. Maybe you take that top hand into your left hip crease as you rotate around. And then inhale, release. Come up to warrior two. Straighten the front leg, reverse warrior. Inhale, back up. Triangle pose. Reach forward, fingertips down to the ground. Roll the top shoulder open. Lengthen out through the left side body. On your exhale, both hands down to the mat, bend into the front knee. We'll lift the back heel up here. Bring your right arm to the inside of the right leg and work the right foot farther out to the right. So your hands are in push-up position, wrists right underneath the shoulders. We'll do 5 push-ups in this position. So inhale to bend the elbows and lower. Exhale to straighten the arms. 4 more. One more time to go low, and then straighten the arms from here. We're going right into Vashisthasana on the left hand, outer edge of the left foot. So that's side plank pose. So get on the outer edge of the left foot, press down into the left hand. Any variation you want here, maybe stacking the feet, opening up the top arm. Top arm might even wrap back behind you and find your left hip. Inhale, back around, plank pose from plank lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Second side is going to start from here. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you. Bend your knee and twist open. Inhale, stretch your leg back, square the hip up. Exhale, lunge your foot to the top of your mat. Right up to warrior one. Take a moment to be with the pose, finding your alignment, but more importantly, finding that heart that helps you open up into the back bend of warrior one. Exhale, hands to your heart, twist to your left. Bring your right arm across. We're setting up for revolved side angle pose. Try to keep the back heel down if you can. Stretch the right fingers towards the floor, maybe onto the floor, left fingers up, twisting up here. Maybe you take that top hand, wrap it into the opposite hip crease, rotating open. Inhale, release. Come up and around to warrior two. And then we'll straighten the front leg, reverse here, open up the left side body. Inhale, come back up, preparing for triangle pose. Take one breath in, and then as you exhale, tip over and down into Trikonasana. Roll your gaze up past your top hand. One more breath in, and then as you exhale, hands down at the front of the mat, lift the back heel up, left arm inside the left leg, and wiggle that left foot out wide so your left wrist can be underneath your left shoulder. 5 push-ups here. Inhale to get low, exhale to lift up. Follow the rhythm of your breath. Notice how each of these 5 feel different. All right, after you straighten your arms on that fifth one, we'll go right into the Vashisthasana on the right hand, outer edge of the right foot. Maybe stacking the feet is the version that you take, lifting the hips up, taking your left arm up, maybe taking the left arm back behind you, binding around your opposite hip. Inhale, come back around to plank pose, and then roll through another vinyasa from plank. That's it. Bring your feet up to the top of your mat. Fold over your legs. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Vrikshasana, that is tree pose. We're going to stand on the right foot and bring the sole of the left foot to your inner right calf or inner right thigh. Remember when you first started yoga? This was a huge challenge. Okay, it was for me. Maybe not for you. It was for me. And here we are holding it. And we're going to do some things while we hold it. Inhale, both arms up overhead. On your exhale, twist to the right. So you're going to take that right shoulder back and right arm back, left shoulder forward, left arm forward. So this is really a lot of core work to help hold you in the balance, but also core work to help you twist. Inhale, both arms back up overhead. Lift that left knee up to hip height, releasing your foot from your leg. Exhale, chair pose, sit low. And then forward bend. Inhale, stretch out halfway. Take your vinyasa now. No going back to where we've been before. Use your breath to set that new track and move forward on it. Inhale, right leg back and up behind you. Bend your knee and twist open. And if you're feeling it, take a back bend by lowering your foot down to the mat, flipping over, opening up your chest. And then as you're ready, use an inhale to come back around to one leg dog. And then an exhale to lunge that right foot up to the top of your mat. Back to warrior one again. Back heel down. Inhale, rise up. Take a moment to be in this pose, this time, feeling it, being you, being authentic in the pose. And then as you inhale, straighten your front leg. We're going for revolve triangle pose. Bring your right hand to your right hip, and as you exhale, you're going to bow forward, slashing that left hand over to the right. Maybe you can get your hand on the outside of your shin. If that doesn't work, you bring your hand to the inside of the shin, and then rotate around to the right, taking that right arm up into the air, letting your gaze follow it. Maybe taking that right hand into the opposite hip as you rotate around. And then on an inhale, release, hands down at the front of your mat. Bend your front knee, lower your back knee to the mat so you can pad that back knee if you like. Bring your right arm to the inside of the right leg and then lower down here. A few breaths right here as you open the hip, maybe the inner thighs. Start to walk your hands back up. So we're going to Shavasana again, side plank pose on the left hand and outer edge of the left foot. I want to challenge you to try a different variation than you did before. So that could be a tree pose. It could be the full version of the pose where you take the right foot straight up into the air. Think about what might work for you and then start to make your way up into your Vashisthasana side plank pose. And then from there, come into regular plank, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, back to downward dog. Bring your feet to the top of your mat. Fold over your legs and chair pose. Lower the hips down, lift up through the chest, and then straighten the legs. Take a back bend here. Putting your hands where you might need them for support, maybe at your low back for support there, maybe at your head for your neck. And then inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Second side starts with tree pose. This time we stand on the left leg. So find your balance there. And then bring the sole of the right foot to your inner calf, or maybe up to your inner thigh, and squeeze in. So maybe tree pose standing on the right leg is a cakewalk for you, and this one's a little more challenging. Just be with what you've got here. Inhale, take your arms up overhead. On your exhale, twist left. Draw the left shoulder and arm back behind you. Right shoulder and arm out in front of you. Rotating around, using that core to help you twist. Inhale, release the twist, arms up overhead. Lift your right knee up to hip height, releasing your foot from the left inner thigh. Exhale, chair pose, lower. And then forward bend, straighten the legs. Inhale, lengthen out. Use your breath to guide you through your vinyasa. It's a different one than the one you took last time because you're different. It's a new track you're setting. In downward dog, inhale, left leg back behind you, lift it up, bend your knee, twist open, and only if it really feels right for you, if it's the right thing for body, mind, and heart in this moment, flip over. Everybody's looking fantastic. Lifting your heart up. Use your inhale as you're ready to come back around to one leg dog, and then lunge that left foot up to the top of your mat. Warrior one again. We take a moment to land in the pose, to feel it, to open up into the back bend of the pose. And then as you inhale, straighten your front leg. Make sure your hips are square here. We're going for a revolved triangle. We'll bring the left hand to the left hip for now. As you exhale, hinge forward at your hips and bring that right arm maybe over to the outside of the left leg. If it reaches, it may not. If it doesn't, bring it to the inside of the leg. Pull your outer left hip back a little bit, and then lift your left shoulder up to the sky, and then left arm to the sky. Maybe gaze up to the sky. And if you're feeling it, take that left hand back, work it into the front of the right hip, helping you pull your shoulder back a little bit more. And then on an inhale, release. Hands down, lower your back knee to the floor. Left arm inside the left leg, and then lower yourself down. So it may be on your hands lowering down, maybe on your forearms. Take some long breaths here. Letting those strong muscles around the hips and the inner thighs open. Start to walk your hands back up. So we'll come into Vashisthasana, that's side plank. On the right hand, outer edge of the right foot, or your right knee can be on the ground. Let's try to make this one a little different from whatever you did last time. So one option might be to come into a tree pose here, left foot on your right inner leg, or maybe you grab that left hand or left foot with your left hand and roll open. Yes. And then back around to a regular plank pose. One more vinyasa here. We're going to meet on our bellies. So as you go through your vinyasa, be sure to get your back bend in and then lower down to your belly. Bend your right knee and reach back with your right hand. Grab your right foot. Draw your heel down towards your right outer hip. I feel like I've been neglecting our quads lately in these practices, so here we go. Exhale, release, go to the other side. Bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand, grab on. To have good alignment in your knee, you want your heel to come closer towards your outer hip than it does towards the center of your glute. All right, exhale and release. Stretch your leg back. Dhanurasana Bow Pose. Bend both knees, reach back with your hands. You can grab your feet, or if you have the room for it, grab down onto your ankles. It just gives you a little bit better grip. Lift the fronts of your shoulders away from the mat, strong belly, and then as you exhale, lift your feet up towards the ceiling, lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, squeeze between the shoulder blades, lifting up, letting heart come into this pose, this back bend. It's yours and yours alone. Exhale, release, stretch your legs back, crocodile pose. One palm on the mat, other palm on top of that hand, and then forehead on top of the top hand. Widen the legs out a little bit. And just release your energy down into the mat. All right, let's take that bow pose one more time. Bring the legs back in about hip width distance apart. Bend the knees. Reach back, grab on where you're going to grab, and then before you lift, take a moment just to acknowledge where you are now, the track that you're creating and moving forward on now. Make sure your belly's strong, and then exhale, lift up. Maybe rock a little bit with your breath. And then exhale, release back down to your mat, stretch the legs back to crocodile pose. Put the opposite hand on the mat this time that you had on the mat last time. All right, start to unpeel. We're going to make our way up to hands and knees. And from hands and knees, we'll go into headstand. So if you're not headstanding and you want some other inversion like handstand or shoulder stand, you're welcome to take any other inversion. I'll start talking you and walking you through headstand 2. So that's the tripod headstand. So look at your hands, make sure they're right underneath your shoulders, right here in all fours. And then work your knees in a little bit closer and bring the top of your head down to the mat. So just look between your hands and where your head is and see if you have an equilateral triangle there. You know, don't have to get your measuring tape out, but that's what we're trying to eye as we find that space between the hands and between the hands and the head that are about the same. Tuck your toes under, pull your belly in, lift the fronts of your shoulders away from the mat so you turn on those upper back muscles. And then from here, pressing into the floor with your hands, lift your knees off the mat. And then you can start walking the feet in 1 foot at a time. And then maybe take 1 foot up into the air. As that foot lifts, ask the other foot to follow it up. And it may take a few times of lifting, really working into the core to help you find that balance again. Couple more breaths right here. And then as you're ready, start to lower your feet back down to the mat. And we'll come into a child's pose here. So in your child's pose, after that headstand, to reset the neck, press your forehead into the mat and slide your hands back under your shoulders. Lift the fronts of the shoulders up away from the floor, but keep the forehead pressing down. You can even roll across your forehead side to side a little bit. Keep the heads of the shoulders rolling back and then lift up through the back of your head to come up into a seat. And then from a seat, we'll stretch the legs out in front. All right, you're still with me. We'll keep that right leg straight. We'll bend the left knee out to the side. So sort of like tree pose. Sole of the left foot along the right inner leg. Take your right hand behind the right hip and just a tiny bit wider. Take your left arm up and then exhale. Take that left arm slashing across at a diagonal as you fold forward. Sort of like the revolved triangle pose, but no balance involved here. Just let yourself fold over your leg. On your inhale, lift back up, and we'll take the revolved version of the pose. So your legs stay just like they are. Bring your right arm down on the inside of your right leg. Swing that left arm back. You want to roll that left shoulder back the whole time you're bringing it up overhead. And maybe where you stay is where you can roll the left side body back and reach out through the left arm. Some of you will be able to touch your foot or grab your foot. For some of us, that's not working. It's important that you roll the left shoulder back instead of rolling it down just for the sake of grabbing your foot. You want that nice long stretch through the left side. And then on an inhale, lift back up. We'll bring that left knee up and then straighten it out and bounce it out a few times. Okay, second side, take the right knee out to the side, like tree pose here. Left hand behind your left hip, just a little bit wider. Right arm up, sit tall. And then exhale, twist a little bit over to the left. Right hand comes down, grabs onto whatever you can grab. And as you're still in this pose, just focus on what you're feeling in your body.
try not to think back to when you did this pose 2 years ago, or maybe if you feel like your hamstrings are in better shape now, think back and enjoy. But the pose you did then is not the pose you're doing now. No going back. Just where you are now, working in the present with what you've got. On an inhale, lift up. Revolved knee to head pose. Left arm on the inside of the left leg. Swim that right arm back. And as you do, roll the shoulder back and then reach out towards your foot, whether you grab it or not. And then think about pressing the arms back away from one another, pressing the arms back behind you as you roll open here. Lengthening out the right side body. This is really good for your low back if you have low back pain, or if you sit a lot and your low back gets tight from sitting. Use your next inhale to lift back up. And then we'll bring that right knee up and then straighten that leg out. Bounce it out a few times, get the circulation going. And then we're going to come on to our backs. So if it works for you to roll onto your back, roll on down. If that hurts your back, roll to your side with bent knees. And then once you're on your side, roll to your back and straighten the legs out. So let's take one full body stretch here, stretching the arms overhead, reaching the legs long, growing the body out a little bit. Take a deep inhale here, and then as you exhale, circle your arms out and down. When your hands get to your hips, pull both knees into your chest and rock over your back. Take both knees, take your arms up to a T, take both knees to the right, and just let them hang there, getting as close to the ground as your body will allow. And then inhale, bring your knees up. As you exhale, both knees over to the left. And then inhale, bring your knees in, bring them up, and then hug them in. Circle the knees around one direction a couple of times, just massaging in a circle across your low back, and then circle the knees the other way a couple of times. And we are ready now for Shavasana. So start to stretch out here, coming into corpse pose. If you're not quite there with on the last song on the playlist, you might want to forward ahead. Make sure you're cozy and comfortable as you stretch out. We are all becoming. Our lives are becoming something other than they were. There's no going back. It's just different. So instead of trying to get back on track, let's set this nice foundation for moving forward on our path, using the tools of our practice. Presence, be present with where your body is now in your Shavasana, how it feels. Acknowledge the role that your heart plays in bringing your unique energy to what you do. And as you sink down, just one more layer here into your corpse pose. Acknowledge the uniqueness that you bring to everything that you do. Start to deepen your breath now, bringing awareness to your body. Stretch your arms overhead. Take that full body stretch again as you stretch the arms up and stretch the legs out. On an exhale, roll to your side. And then roll yourself right up to a seat. Bring your hands to your heart and close your eyes. Settle your attention within once more. I hope as you go through your day, you're able to set that new track and begin moving in it. Using the tools of your practice to be present, to be uniquely you, to have wisdom to help carry you forward. Let's all together send some of our heart energy out to those who are sick, those who are healing the sick, to all the essential workers who are keeping things going. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.